to say, Robert Shepard, hi, how are you? I noticed that you have joined us too. So any comments or anything you'd like to talk about regarding ELP songs that Mike could answer for you, or that you just like to say? All of you people, go for it. It's okay.
Because Tom is still watching, we can ask him because he knows better than me probably.
Well, Tom is pretty.
And incidentally, with Tom's Noddy's Puncher.
Yes, love that band.
Forget all, with all great respect to all of the other ELP tribute acts.
Yes,
in the world, Tom's stuff is the real deal. I mean, unless you've heard that. And how do you say this, Dyanne? We taught you what is the kind of synthesizer? Begins with M. How do you pronounce it?
Moog.
No, the other one. Moog.
Moog.
That's it, yeah. So unless you've heard,
that's embarrassing. Oh my gosh, I'm going to hear it from people.
unless you hear Tom firing up his Moog, it's not ELP. I mean, when you hear Noddy's Puncher, it is a force of nature. So I know they don't do that many gigs, but when they do gigs, anybody in the UK, you've got to go and see them, or somebody to get them over to the States. I don't know how you'd ship his equipment over there, mind you.
I don't think that they've done that at all, which is why we haven't been able to see them. But no. Manticore is a big one for me in New York.
They're a great band. Really good band. But unless you hear the real analog equipment that Tom plays, although to be fair,
Tom has that whole Keith Emerson performance style too. I mean, with the knives and jumping over and playing backwards and whatnot.
He only gets the knives out when he's angry, when someone else in the band, one of the other guys in the band, sort of, you can see him look. Have you heard that saying? He looks daggers at somebody. Do you have that saying in the States?
Yeah.
He looks daggers, so he just.
Oh, that's so funny. Tom, is that the truth?
He won't admit it.
No, I could picture him saying, Hammond, you did not do this on key, you went on key, so therefore I'm gonna put you back in key.
Yeah.
We're gonna have this play on tune.
Yeah. Well, the Moog.
The Moog.
Yeah. It kind of doesn't like staying in tune anyway. It's part of its character.
I actually hear that there's an awful lot of adjustments done after every performance Keith did. In fact,
you have to bear in mind that Keith had his team. Tom has just got himself.
Keith would throw those daggers in there, and there would be like pieces of a Hammond keys just kind of chipping and flying off in every direction, and this poor technician after every performance had to fix all that. I mean, I don't know how many keys, I wonder, did this technician have to keep on hand?
I don't know. Tom's the man to ask. Tom is the man to ask.
Tom, how many keys did the technician have to keep on hand to replace at a moment's notice in between these tours?
Maybe mid-gig.
Gigs is what I really need to say, is the gigs.
It's like bits of old teeth flying out, So.
Well, he lets himself go, and I mean, things go flying and things break, and he keeps right on. He nets a miss a beat.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, Tom's been very quiet.
He's been too quiet. Doggone it.
He's very shy and retiring.
I know, and that's fine. And I'm wondering what else. I do have one other question.
Go on in.
Projects. Do you have anything going on that you can talk about that maybe you're working on currently?
No. Yes.
That's a better answer.
I'm I'm doing a similar book to the ELP one on Pink Floyd at the moment. On their not on Pink Floyd itself, because Pink Floyd, it's been overdone. It's been done to death, is the saying. Yes. And I'm going to be doing one on the solo careers. So Syd Barrett, that's been written about quite a lot, but he will be included because the stuff that he did was relatively confusing. So I'll kind of tidy that up. But Roger Waters, Nick Mason, David Gilmour, and Rick Wright. So I'll be writing about their various solo careers and and I'll probably touch on their session work a bit, because they've guested on quite a lot, and production. They've done some production work, particularly Gilmour and Nick Mason.
Yes,
quite interesting production work.
Would you be talking at all about maybe some of the background to the Wall?
I won't touch on Pink Floyd at all. Roger Waters, of course, has done the Wall live, but no, I won't talk about the Pink Floyd stuff at all, because it's been done too much.
Okay.
It'll just be their solo careers.
Well, that's good enough.
I mean, amazingly, I mean, I know I said earlier about it was fantastic that we'd had the books on Keith and Greg, which, but amazingly, there aren't any books. This isn't what I'm going to do, but there aren't any books at all on Roger Waters or Dave Gilmour. You'd expect.
That's very true. Very true. I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd. I've seen them a few times, and their shows are just spectacular as far as their.
Totally different to ELP, but yeah.
Oh, look at Robert Shepard. I have nothing to add to anything Mike has to say. He's the authority.
Just the guy that plays.
Just the guy that plays. Robert, that would be something you'd comment on. That is exactly who you are.
Maybe we could have a keyboard battle between Robert and Tom.
Oh, ooh.
Both very, very good keyboard players, I have to say.
The both of them
completely different. And in talking about instruments, this is amazing. I don't know if anybody's got this. It's not my book, obviously. Gerard, which is my middle name, incidentally. Gerard, this it's got a lot of ELP in it. And it goes through, it's basically about, the instruments of progressive rock, but I mean, it's got a lot of ELP information in here that I didn't know about. So it's fantastic stuff. Absolutely fantastic.
Very interesting.
He's obviously a very, very big ELP fan, because he mentions all three quite a lot.
Oh, now, let's see, Ruby Deaton, I think is how you pronounce it, Ruby. If I've got it wrong, I really apologize. But Ruby says, I got that book based on your recommendation.
It's Robbie, not Ruby.
Oh my goodness. Robbie, you know what? I need my glasses. Clearly, I hate to look old, but I need my glasses. So, Robbie, not only do I apologize, I really apologize.
I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Also say hello, but he recommends the book. And Robert Shepard says that he is not a huge Pink Floyd.
I've had a book on ELP tribute bands. There's a book.
Says, hey, Mike, how about book on, wait a minute, I don't want to lose the place. Oh, Tom spoke up too. Wait a minute, let me back up here a little bit if it is at all possible. Let me see, and it is. Robert says, I'm not a huge Pink Floyd fan. Hey, Mike, how about book on ELP tribute bands? There's a book.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good idea.
And Tom says, I'm not on my own with the
Yes.
Moog modular
Moog.
guys. I
Yeah.
have David Derbyshire to help with
Derbyshire.
a little and
Derbyshire.
carry let me see, he says more too, electronically. You're probably right. It is seat of your pants stuff. I love it, Tom. Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I got one more book before we move on, or if we do move on.
Okay.
This one. Now, William Neal, as we all know, is the guy who designed and drew Tarkus, and he owns the copyright to Tarkus image because Keith gave it to him as thanks. Wow. But this book is just wonderful. It shows William's work now. It's autographed. There we are, Dyanne, to me. Ooh.
I'm looking.
But what it does is, apart from it tells you about his stuff he's doing now, it's got, interestingly, is where I see that little drawing. See this little drawing here? Oh, where is it? Here. That's a very formative early Tarkus idea for these sort of weird creatures. And in here is where he explains. Where's the? Yeah, there's the early Tarkus here. Early Tarkus drawings. That's the original cover, which was rejected by Greg. Obviously, the following one.
Oh, and you know what? I heard about that.
But then, interestingly, also, this here, that is his rejected design for Trilogy. And he's standing in front of the design there. So that's William. But this book is, you know, a real insight into ELP's album cover designs. So I recommend that. William's got a website. We should put the link up so people can go.
Oh, let's do that. Can you show the cover of that book one more time? Because I don't have it. And I'd like to very much look into that.
Watching Paint Dry, William Neal. Okay. Yeah, he lives in Scotland.
And it says watching paint
dry. Yeah.
Okay. That's definitely a book that I need to get my hands on.
Yeah.
I'm a big book lover, by the way. I just really love this stuff.
Well, William did, let's have a look. Where is the, oh, he did the Three Fates cover, which I haven't got here to hand, I don't think. That's somewhere here. I've got way too much ELP stuff. I couldn't possibly. As you can see by this room, there's lots of ELP stuff in this room.
Yes, I have been drooling all morning.
Yeah, posters, and it's you know, a lot of it's around the house. My poor wife has to put up with it. That's a good one. This is the Greg's scratch plate for his Rickenbacker bass, which is beautifully engraved with Tarkus there. You can see it.
I can see it.
That's
look at that.
That's an amazing thing.
Wow.
It was made incorrectly though, so it was never used. The pickup, this one was in the wrong place, so it couldn't fit on. That's a Rickenbacker bass there, but it doesn't fit. So it was, the story was, it was kept for a while, and it was discarded into a waste paper bin in the record company office.
Waste paper bin. It makes me sick just hearing words like that.
A girl who worked in the office spotted it and said, "Oh, why are you throwing that out? That's beautiful." and she took it home, and then years later, somebody who knew what it was, well, spotted it. So that's Tarkus, and then then the story. I interviewed her years later, and got the story. So, yeah.
We do have a question from Catherine Smock. Any idea on if Keith's book will be republished? So hard to find.
It was a good point, because I've lost my copy of it.
I kind of lost mine too.
So I hope so. We don't know, but we hope so. Who is the publisher? I can't look, because
I had that book for such a long time. And I can't think of the publisher either, but I know that publisher. I know it. I've recognized that before.
I'm going to make a note of that and contact them.
Would you tell them we would especially like hardback copies?
I mean, yeah. Well, I had a hardback copy. Was it? God, I wish I knew where that was. It should be republished and updated, really, shouldn't it?
I think it should. I mean, I would like to see it again.
Yeah, we'll make a note of that and ask. Okay.
All right, let's see who else here. Now, Robert Shepard sent a link about watching paint dry. So I would assume, Robert Shepard, thank you very much. If this is the link to get the book, I would just be ecstatic. And Robbie caught it. Robbie says, I'm looking at my copy. The publisher is John Blake Publishing.
Okay. I'll get in touch with them.
Limited. I think that's what LTD stands for, is limited, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Limited, yeah.
Just like to always make sure I'm correct. And Kathy Smock says, awesome, thank you. So we've got people here that are very excited about things like this. And Mike, you said you're going to contact them. And I think we have, let's see, do we have something else that was, I thought that we had another link here. And, Tom wants to also make sure that we know that, that he doesn't compete. Naughty doesn't compete. They're huge, or Robert says this, excuse me, have it backwards. Robert Shepard says that Tom and himself does not compete. He's a huge Naughty's Puncture fan. And I'll bet you that Tom is a huge Manticore fan. And he's got Naughty's Puncture has the UK market cornered. And Manticore has got the United States covered.
Yes, I mean, obviously, I haven't heard Manticore, but I've seen the YouTube videos, and they're brilliant. So,
how do you like that?
And they're also they're very, very different bands.
I love Robert Shepard's sense of humor. I mean, doing Jerusalem and doing that little kickoff at the end is just absolutely brilliant. Robert, you are got a great sense of humor and don't ever stop.
So who else have we got here?
Well, I thought we had another question here someplace here. Let me see.
I'm probably deleted it. Thought better of it.
I know, right? Let me see. We've got.
Why is Dyanne in front of a map of the world? Is she going for world domination? I think that's what it said.
Well, you know why? It's because Dyanne doesn't remember how to get that background off of. So it had to stay. But you know what? It's really the universe of ELP. And
no, you look like a Bond villain. It's a Bond villain would sort of have, you're gonna, in a minute you're going to start stroking a cat.
Oh my goodness sakes, please no.
Oh, Mr. Bond, we've been expecting you.
Where have you been? Where have you been? You know, they like that too, right? Behind your ears, you know. I mean,
It does look like you're going to start reading the news.
okay. I need my daughter's kitty cat to do that, Luna.
Yeah.
Luna, and look at this, the background. Oh, that's so perfect. But she has a fabulous. So, but anyway, I think that.
Can you see that one there? That album there? Can you tell what that is?
Wait a minute. I don't see it. I don't see it. Where?
I'll get it. Hold on.
Sit down. Okay.
Can you tell what this is?
Let me see. We're on a little bit of a delay. So let me see what it looks like. Oh, wait a minute.
Can anyone guess?
Let's have a guess. Let's let everybody else guess, because.
Does anyone read Russian?
Not lately. I'm still trying to work on English. No, I don't know what that is. Does anyone else know? Let's take a look.
Look, 3 words. What does this look like here?
Well, it kind of well, it's an album, and it kind of looks like Manticore or
Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. This is a Russian copy of Pictures at an Exhibition.
Of course.
ELP.
What else? What picture?
They, you know, because the Russians had their own bootleg copies and stuff. So, yeah, it's one of many albums here that I got too many.
I know, right? I wish I could say the same thing, because I love your collection there.
This is good. Look, it's another one, Dyanne. Test pressings. This is an ELP. I think this.
Oh my gosh, I got to look.
There's hardly any of these. I think there's probably about 5.
Got to be works.
There's lots of them.
You know, there's something that we talked about. Now I don't want to lose my train of thought on it, but we talked a little bit about Love Beach.
You did. You were talking about Love Beach.
I was, but there are some songs on there that are actually quite good.
Which ones? The lyrics are particularly
yeah. Yes.
Well, okay.
Let's
talk about Love Beach, because I think there has been at some point a discussion on the Facebook group, either this one or one of the other ELP ones.
It's been this one.
about the rehearsal tracks that were released, and there's two deluxe versions of Love Beach, I think, to date, and both of them have had different rehearsal tracks, which is really confusing, but all of them are worth hearing, because it gives an indication of what Love Beach. No, hardly anyone mentions this. In fact, I'm the only person that probably does mention it. It gives an indication of what the album could have sounded like, and it's much harder hitting. You can hear the GX1 keyboard, which is a bit of a love-hate thing, but it's much better. If it could have been like that, I think a lot of people would have been much happier.
I think so too. Now, David Harris pops in and says, any plans for a book on the rarities?
Well, we were talking about that earlier as part of the book that I wrote. That kind of the rarities do get mentioned, but in the context of each album. And in hindsight, I could have given the rarities their own section, but we kind of ran out of space. I was pushing and pushing the publisher to give me more and more pages, and in the end, he said, "That's enough." You know, now he's sort of saying, "Oh, I wish we'd given it more space," but it's too late now. Yeah, maybe one day we could, but I'd like to wait until more rarities appear, which goes back to what we started this conversation.
What's hidden? Don't we see?
I'm hoping there are more rarities to come.
Wouldn't that be wonderful? You know, people have also talked about the fact that there wasn't a whole lot of video that was taken for their concerts in the very early days. And that's too bad, because I know I would have loved to have seen more, 8mm films. I would have loved to have seen more professionally done.
But when you consider
70s, 74.
When you consider that a band like Led Zeppelin also has got very little footage. So if Led Zeppelin haven't got it, then ELP, I mean, ELP were nearly up there at one stage. Well, they were sort of level pegging with Led Zeppelin maybe at one stage. There's no chance. It's just 8mm fan cine film, really. It is a shame. It is a shame.
It really is a shame, because we really missed out on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, my pet thing is not the video, it's the recording. Why didn't ELP record their shows? I mean, as we know, your favorite, the Triple Live album, was recorded by King Biscuit. ELP didn't record it. So
that's right.
What did ELP actually record apart from pictures? What did they actually record? Now there are soundboard recordings which keep appearing. A lot of them were in the fanfare box, and they're slowly appearing on vinyl as part of the record store releases. But
bootleg would be nice if people have done their own bootlegs of some of these early shows. Yeah,
I mean, it's possible that more bootlegs exist, but I think we're scraping the barrel. It's just a shame that ELP, I mean, particularly when you bear in mind that ELP had a quadraphonic sound system, that would have been perfect for a surround sound 5.1 release now. And in fact, the Triple Live album hasn't had the deluxe treatment yet, has it?
No, I'm waiting.
We're all waiting, yeah. So who knows? So we're getting some love for Love Beach. Everybody always says Canario and Memories, but Robert's quite right. All I Want Is You is actually a pretty decent track. If it had been not given the slushy production and all that highly polished 80s thing, I agree, it's pretty okay.
I think that, wasn't it true too that Love Beach was not produced by Greg?
Correct, yeah.
And Greg being such a great producer,
but we also have to bear in mind that post brain salad surgery, Greg, his whole approach to music changed anyway, and his Side on Works is arguably overproduced. So I'm not sure even. Well, yeah, I mean, he couldn't have done a worse job, could he?
No.
It's not produced. That's the problem. And production, of course, means not just the mixing. It's in terms of, you know, how things are played in the studio, arrangements, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. It's a what if. It exists.
Right? There's a lot of questions that we could ask.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing, you know, the point people make about is, if it didn't have such a god awful cover, would it have been perceived better? And the answer is, oh yeah, and not given such a bloody terrible title.
No. If
I mean,
they had done a different title, and if they had just not been standing in the water
in the book, I mentioned that Keith did his own poll at a state, I can't remember, an airport somewhere, where he asked people if this was Love Beach was the title of the new ELP album, and people said no, it's not a title for ELP. And he took it to Amit Etigan, the Atlantic guy, record company guy, but they wouldn't have it. They said it's been decided, it's going to be called Love Beach. So
I don't know why. Does anyone know why?
Yeah, they're on drugs.
A lot of people were.
Yeah, but you wouldn't expect guys like that.
No,
I mean,
you would not. No, you would not.
They just lost the plot, and I think they were so scared of the rise of the punk thing, the simplification, the energy of that entire thing, and they couldn't work out why bands like Genesis had managed to transform themselves into a more of a commercial entity.
Well, you know, Phil Collins, I think, had a lot to do with that.
This was pre-Phil Collins, though, wasn't it? It's before Phil Collins' solo career. It was, but Genesis had already brought out, and then there were 3, which is shorter songs, but they'd still retained the prog credentials.
Oh yes, Selling England by the Pound and
yeah. I mean, but ELP just, you know, they just weren't that kind of band. Although, you know,
yes,
is Asia, the band Asia, are they the commercial ELP? Is that what ELP, you know, they were trying to be? I don't know. So it is. We talk about this till the cows come home. Do you have that saying in the States? The cows come home.
Yes, that is a saying, until the cows come home. Absolutely. Or I'm sure there are until the last card is played.
Yeah. So it is. Love Beach is what it is. It is an embarrassment to most ELP fans. Well, I guess the question is, what did ELP fans really want? You know, did we want Works? We didn't. We love Fanfare for Common Man.
Yeah, Works was a definite thing, especially if you just said brain salad surgery.
Yeah.
And Works comes out. I know my boyfriend at the time said, don't get Works. It's different than DSS. And I went and got it. And I loved it. I did love it. But it was different. It was definitely taking it on a different course.
Yeah, and it was also the polar opposite to what was happening with the aggressive punk, new wave, pub rock, all of that stuff. And they just lost the plot. Could ELP have ever done anything raw is the thing, you know. Could they have paired it? There was some talk of ELP stripping the sounds back to drums, bass, and just Hammonds and piano, and maybe a bit of Moog. That I personally would have loved.
I would have loved that.
Yeah, but we'll never know.
You like Black Moon, for instance. It's like you have this definite Carl Palmer style, and Greg is doing his thing with that bass that no one else can really duplicate. And then you have Keith with just this, you know, boom here.
But the difference is that Carl's drumming had changed, as we discussed earlier. Keith's keyboards were getting increasingly layered, in terms of the sound. It wasn't simple sound anymore. He didn't play much Hammond. It wasn't so much straight piano. And also then you have Greg playing a different bass style. Again, a simplified style. So Black Moon was, I quite like Black Moon as an album.
Excuse me.
Bless you. I quite like it as an album, but it's not the raw ELP thing I think that most of us love. So
I think they enjoyed doing Black Moon for sure.
Yeah.
But you know, I really do truly love the original trilogy and our first album, Dove, and
of course,
you know, people don't talk a whole lot about this particular
well, that one again,
experience.
Let's have a look.
Again,
of course, the bugbear. Let's have a look. Bugbear amongst ELP fans is that one, which is the alternative mix album.
Mm-hmm. Oh, David Harris. He likes Black Moon a lot. Yay, yeah. David. Yes.
But not many people have heard this version.
No. I'm one.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's only a matter of time before this is released, I guess. It's been quite a while now, but when was this? 2017, so 3 years, not that long.
This is the back of mine. I think the regular back.
But there's another version of that one. I think there's a Japanese version of that with an extra track.
That makes sense.
I don't know which one you've got. That might be it, actually. Has yours got a bonus track on it?
Let's see. It has, let me see. It's got the regular songs there. I'm looking to see if it's got a bonus track.
What's the last track?
The last track is, hang on a second. I need my glasses. Doggone it. I knew I was going
to hold it up to the screen. I can see it.
Okay. I'm going to hold it up really close. And
no, it's got to be in your shape.
So hang on a second. Let me get my glasses and I'm going to read you what I have. Because I got them right here. I just didn't want to actually wear them.
Yeah, so David Harris, I like Black Moon a lot. Yeah, so do I.
You know, this is where age shows up, right? Okay.
I have to take mine off to read.
The last one was A Blade of Grass.
Oh, yeah, I think that's a bonus track, isn't it?
It is the bonus track. It does say so. Because you have Footprints in the Snow, and then it's bonus track, A Blade of Grass.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, indeed.
So I got the bonus. Yay.
Yeah, you have. So Robert's saying about it's very hard. Black Moon's hard to duplicate. Complex scintillate. Yeah. So it's layering. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's overdone. I mean, it's great. I love it, but it's overdone.
Yes, but I do love the drums in Black Moon.
Yeah, actually,
Carl's drumming is just
it's a great track, and it arguably should have done better as a single. But yeah, different show most of the time.
Let's see. David says my friend Mark Calder has the Japanese CD, which means I have it on my iPod.
I think that means
different show, most definitely. It's a different show, most definitely.
Yeah, I think he means about Black Moon. So I don't know. Anyway,
I think so. I think that's what he's talking
I guess the other thing, talking about Black Moon, is that we've got the Royal Albert Hall gig,
right?
Which was recorded. I think I was at 2 of those shows. I can't remember which. Anyway, it doesn't matter. There were 3 shows, 2 and then 1 later. But they must have recorded more than that was just appeared on the single CD. So where is that other stuff? We want to hear it. You know, do we want to hear another version of Rondo?
Good
I
question.
personally, I'd quite happy if ELP dropped Rondo altogether, but you know, I think a lot of people would disagree with that.
Well, like we've said before, every single person has their own feeling about certain songs, and we respect that. And one person's love is another person's dislike.
Yeah, one person's Tarkus is another person's Jeremy Bender.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love Jeremy Bender. And
yeah, but we're not going to talk about that because I talk about that in the book quite a lot, and that's picked up in the review that Prog magazine did of my book. We'll say no more.
Okay, we'll say no more about that, but I will say this: Manticore, God bless you for doing that video, The Sheriff, because the fact
that's brilliant.
The fact that they kept the ending identical to what Keith did just made it all the more fun, all the more enjoyable to listen to, and it was a surprise ending for me.
I can't remember. Did they do the beginning though? Did they do the shit bit?
I believe every single note in that entire Sheriff video.
I don't think anybody can play it without doing the expletive in the front, the false strum.
Yes.
Shit. I used to hate playing that at home because I think my mum's going to hear it. My mum's going to hear me swearing.
I was never permitted.
Robert saying yes. Is Robert saying yes to? I knew Tom would say you can't drop Rondo. Is Robert saying they did yes to the beginning or not?
Oh, Tom says you cannot drop Rondo.
Yeah, I know. Tom would say
theatrical bit, both the
the bass string. Yeah, the bass string squeak. Oh, I'll have to go and listen to that. You could post the video to that, the link, Robert, so we can see that.
Oh, that would be wonderful. That would be absolutely wonderful. I would love to hear that. That would be great. And of course, we've talked to death, I know, on our site. Every time we bring up Carnival 9, which, by the way, the film is in pre-production.
Oh yeah.
They're writing the screenplay, so that I don't believe it's casted yet.
So we could all get a part in this.
Well, I actually applied. I figured, man, to be a part of that would be like a bucket list, right? So yeah, I actually did apply.
I'm trying not to say what I'm thinking here. I'm thinking of the lyrics. And I was thinking,
trying to figure out, how do you be an evil carnival person,
Yeah, it wasn't one of those I was thinking of. I was going through the lyrics thinking, which part has she applied for?
I actually applied for the bad, mean part. I wanted to be one of those people that go from, you got to lure your victims in, and you do that with the sound man that what did they used to call it in the old carnival days? Yeah, that
barkers. They were barkers.
Yes. And he would have to be real smiles, and he'd have to look real friendly and very inviting. And he brings them all in, and then he changes character.
Yeah.
And now it's an evil carnival, and they didn't suspect it. And now these people are being tortured. And now your Barker is just smiling, but he's got that smile that just...
Yeah, we're going to get him inside, and we're going to play him some Yes, and they're going to hate it.
I like Yes.
Yeah, we're going to play. We're going to
play like
this one's called Tales from Topographic Oceans. No.
Or how about let's do something by what's that punk group that did the Queen did with Sid Vicious.
Sex Pistols.
Sex Pistols. Let's throw some Sex Pistols in that evil carnival, huh?
The Sex Pistols were a great band. If you
They
listen
were
back,
great, but they were opposite of ELP.
yeah, well, yeah, kind at that time.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. The Sex Pistols were, you know,
They were in rights. They were in their rights.
they were all, Sid Vicious was an idiot, but the rest of them.
Sid Vicious was just, he had issues.
Yeah, of course he did. But the others are, you know, they were a half decent rock band. I didn't. My mum wouldn't let me go and see the Sex Pistols.
I would never be allowed to go see them, but I did own their album, something by the Queen. What is that song?
God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen. God,
it's a fascist regime.
One of my favorite songs.
Yeah.
And I had the album for that reason, and I do love a couple of other songs on there very much. But then there are, I'm sure, some music out there that would be totally torturous to.
Yeah. Yes. Tales from Topographic Oceans.
You go back to that. That's so great. I absolutely love it. I love it. There's some truth behind that too.
There is, yeah. Ask Rick Wakeman what he thinks.
There really is.
Only John Anderson.
Mark wants to know how to apply. How do you want to apply? You want to apply for the Carnival 9 film, right?
Yeah, we'd all like to be in it.
Oh, I know, right? You know what?
Who wants to be the mule?
I think everybody who's watching this right now, we all get together as a group and say, we alone together could make this movie, because nobody knows Carnival 9 like our group. Nobody knows it. We have that so embedded. We could probably sing it backwards and still get it going. And,
yeah, I mean, I'll be the bishop in a car.
Okay, and me, I'll just be one of those people that
I'm dreading what you're going to say.
Something really.
Have you actually read the lyrics to Carnival 9?
Well, there's just some lyrics that are kind of really out there, and you have to be prepared. You know, I mean, if the producer looks at you or the casting director looks at you and says, you know what I'd really want you to do? You know that part where you have a stripper?
Yeah, it's the part with 7 virgins and a mule. If they say, we're looking for 7 virgins and a mule, which of these ELP fans is going to put their hands up? I think we got David Harris, I think, and Mark DeGregory. They're both volunteering. I can sense it.
Oh, yes. And I'm sure they're looking down and saying, it's about time.
I'm out. Count me out.
I don't even want to say it. But it's interesting, isn't it? That someone has finally come around and said that this was such an unusually written piece that was so brilliant in its 3 impressions.
Well, we don't know what the script's about yet, do we?
No,
I mean,
we don't know if it's just impression 2 or if it's going to be all 3.
Yeah, it's going to be, well, I think it's just basically the dystopian world that was Pete Sinfield sort of dreamt up, which was a common 1970s sci-fi or 60s, 70s sci-fi theme anyway. In fact, quite a lot of Hollywood movies today are along that theme, so it kind of fits. I get it. So
yeah, I totally get it. That's
the biggest question for me is what the soundtrack is going to be.
Yes, and David Harris is already saying that he volunteers to play the part of Virgin and a Mule. So
no, he said the Barker. He says the Barker.
Yes, and David, it figures.
No one wants to be the mule.
I'm not, yeah, yeah. Which part do you want to be, David? Do you want to be the virgins or do you want to be the mule?
Well, he can't be all seven. He can be one.
You could be one of seven. We could dress him up.
I think so. I'm going to have to look at the lyric. Oh, no, I might. I'm not.
You got to keep it cool, though.
Hey, I mean, how about if one of the tribute bands, Robert or Noddy Puncher, did some music for it? Now, how cool would that be?
That would be really, really cool if we could have like Robert Soul, we could have Ed, we could have, Frank Askew. I always say that wrong. Sorry, Frank. Or
Robert Berry.
Robert Berry. Oh my goodness sakes. Robert Berry and Andrew Collier and let me get everybody right here because it's been a little bit. Ed always talks about him. Our guitar player for Robert Berry.
Yeah, that's a good idea. What Robert says, Tom and I can get together and write Carnival 9 fourth impression. Genius.
Oh,
that's
Robert.
Why hasn't anybody done that? There you go.
Nobody's even thought about it. And Robert, what would the subject be about? What would the theme be around for a number 4 impression? Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, what happened to the mule?
What do you do after you've had your war with the computer and the man? What do you do after that? Is there any more? Can you talk about the virus?
Well, over here there's Trump. No, over here there's Trump.
Yeah,
and over here we've got Boris.
There you go. Donald.
Both people with similar haircuts.
We all have our hair, combed over like this so that we're not showing certain things, and it almost.
It'll be about rebirth. Yeah, it'll be about rebirth.
And a lot of Elmer's glue to keep it, that way.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a good idea. I think definitely a good idea.
Ooh, Mike has a great idea. Go to Disneyland.
Mark says Mark de Gregory. Yeah.
Yeah, go to Disneyland. Great thought. They could do a whole evil carnival going through the little that boat that goes through the it's not a wonderland, but how they go from music to music to music, and
well, it could. I mean, to be serious about this, Carnival 9 could easily be a ride, couldn't it, on a Disneyland or whatever.
Yeah, I wish I could remember the name of that.
Oh, Disney movie.
Who knows who I'm talking about out there? Where it's a small world after all. That's the one. Go ahead and take just that ride and make it a 4th impression, because there's a lot in there that I think you could mess around with.
I think it's a great idea. Good idea.
There, look at David.
Anyway, we'll see. So do we know when the movie is meant to be due out, Dyanne?
What's that?
Do we know when the movie is due out?
I do not know, because it is in pre-production. So because they're still working on screenplay, because they're still working on, I think they have the director, I think they have
it'll be,
and I think they might even have the co-director, and I think they've got a couple of other people too, but I have not seen the casting director's name appear yet. But I was writing directly to the director and producer, trying to get my name out there. And then
I guess whatever happens, it's bound to be a boost for ELP, because the music will feature somehow. It's bound to. So it's bound to be a boost for the band and their sales and the back catalogue. And so somebody, a tribute band maybe, needs to, take advantage of it.
Get your tribute bands out there. Get your hands in the clay and form something.
Yeah. let's see. Well, I mean, I'm sure you will. If any, I'll post about it on any of the pages that I manage, and I'm sure you will as well, Dyanne. So,
Oh,
yeah,
we'll definitely want some ideas from our group out there.
yeah.
But a first Robert Berry, you are genius for coming up with that. That is absolutely perfect.
No, it wasn't Robert Berry that said it. It was
Robert Shepard.
Robert Shepard. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Robert Shepard, I do apologize.
We should do another one of these, shouldn't we?
I really think so. I think we should. But I think we should. I don't think we've said enough. And I think there's so much more, Mike, we could get the group chatting about.
Yeah, we should.
I'd be curious about more things. And, you know, I'd be curious also to hear more about your Pink Floyd book.
Yeah.
You know, with the solo performance.
Well, I don't want to say any more about it yet, because it's still it's
still in production as far as your project goes. So
yeah,
certainly. But
do online tribute bands count? Yes, they do. In this day and age, of course, online tribute, because you can't have any live gigs. We can't in the UK.
Yep. I mean, it's musicians and performers are really struggling and have been really struggling as to how they can continue to get their music out to the public and how they can get their funding to keep going. Because I really believe that it's important that ELP music stay alive. And I think it's the tribute bands that are making it work. And,
or any live music.
And our groups on Facebook, and people like yourself that are willing to come on and talk about what they know, because everybody knows something different. Yeah.
Everyone's got snippets of information. I mean, I have got more things I could say about ELP, but I think we've probably gone on for too long. And
I know, right? We should save it for next time.
And you're going to have a hell of a job editing this. So if we make it too long.
Okay. Well, why don't we close, since I think we have pretty much covered more than what we even wanted to. And which is great. I love it. Thank you everybody for your participation. Because that you all mean everything to, I know Mike, and to myself, Manticore, Naughty's Puncture, everyone that has been on Backstage Pass, and everyone who has just participated in the Titan site for sure. You guys all are family, and I humbly thank you for joining us today. It means a lot to Mike and I to see you guys out there. And I
think as a newsreader, your newsreader, you should sign off saying, Dyanne Klinko, news at ELP at, what time is it now over there? 7 o'clock here in the UK.
It's almost 11 o'clock in the morning. 2 hours. I'm sorry, people. But, Mike, I thank you humbly, and and as members, I like to call them not members, but our Titans family of people that have joined our group. We all want to say thank you, and we expect very much to see you again soon. Yep. And we will do this again, and we will bring up other topics and close up on any topics that are still pending, if people still have more to say after we close.
There's tons more to say.
But for right now, Mike, humbly thank you again for coming on and doing this with us, because you mean a lot to us. And I think that a lot of people have just come to know Mike Goode, author of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, every album, every song. Check it out on Amazon. If you can't find it there, I'd go to eBay.
Oh, you don't go to eBay. I don't get any royalties from that.
Oh, no, you don't, do you? What other site can you recommend? What other site?
I don't get hardly anything anyway. So, I mean, there's no way as do I get.
That's shameful.
Well,
that's very shameful because you're the one that's doing all the work.
Yeah, the publisher is very, very good, to be fair. But I mean, we're talking, I will try and get the figures, the sales figures for it to share with everybody. Because I was amazed it sold. I don't know how many it sold. People keep asking me, but anyway.
I know, right? I know. But Sonic Bond, let's find out where else we can get this one available.
I'll let you know when the reprint is ready. I'll let everybody know.
You're awesome, Mike. You are absolutely the best.
Yeah, I know.
Let's close for real. And say we will see you soon. And on behalf of everyone who has participated today, big thank yous. And we're all thanking you too, Mike. I'm just doing it for them.
And I might have had my hair cut next time because
hopefully me too, actually. I'm still too long. But at least I got to the shop. At least I finally don't have
not here. We can't
here.
I'm hoping my sister will have cut my hair next week because we finally, because I'm in Wales.
Yeah, I'm tired of being a pioneer woman that looks like a pioneer woman from 18.
Yeah. Right. Fishing for compliments.
It's just like, oh my gosh, I need this and this done. I need my eyebrows.
Look at your eyes. Look at these. You think you got problems?
Mike, you look great. Don't even go there. You look great.
Yeah.
Don't
we better go.
I could be doing like, one here, No.
Anyway.
But anyway.
It's time for my dinner.
We're going to talk again. Next time I'll have my kitty cat and, do the old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Can't forget that.
I've been expecting you, Mr. Emerson.
We love you very much. And we will talk soon.
Yep. See you later.
Everybody else, thank you for participating. God bless you and stay safe. And so that, we'll see you soon. Yes.
See you later.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everyone. See you next time. I will edit this and I will bring this back to you guys for you. Look at that. Look, I was actually doing hand signals, but
yeah, I know. I was doing them. Right.
All right.
Speak to you later, Dyanne.
And I always have hard time closing, so be safe, be good, and I know you will, and look forward to hearing more things from you. Bye.
Bye.
To mend the love that ended long ago, although we still pretend our love is surely coming to an end. Don't waste the time, you've got to love again. We tried to lie, but you and I know better than to let each other lie. The thought of lying to you makes me cry, counting up the time that's passed us by. I've sent this letter hoping it will reach your hand, and if it does I hope that you will understand that I must leave in a while. And though I smile, you know the smile is only there